Hey guys, thanks for joining me. And if you like what you see, please subscribe.
Hello, welcome to Sharp Ends, friends. So here I am, and I want to talk to you today about ProTech. ProTech is a company based out of California that mainly makes side opening automatics, but not necessary. But they also make a few other knives as well. I don't know how many. I don't think that they make. I think they only make flippers. I think everything they do comes out the side. There's a couple of notable exceptions that I do not have on the table. I don't have a Mordix, and there are a couple of other knives that I don't have of theirs and I haven't experienced. But I do have several of their most popular knives here, and I thought that I would just go ahead and share with you my experience with them so far. I know I have a long way to go, but this is what I have, and this is what I want to talk about today. So I'm going to go through this my journey as far as like how I experienced them. The very first knife I got from them was the TR3, which I believe just celebrated its 20th anniversary. It is very snappy, as you just heard, and the springs on ProTechs are really good. If you push the button, their push button here, and you just flip it over, it opens like that, and that is a great sign of a good spring and a very strong automatic. You'll notice that this TR3 does not look like your typical TR3. This was one of the first knives, I believe it was the first knife that ProTech made in MagnaCut. This is a MagnaCut edition TR3, and it has the fish scales on here, which some people like or don't like. And also, I sent it into Way of Knife EDC Gearhouse, and they customized it for me by highlighting a couple of the scales, polishing the button. This was all black, and then also polishing the clip here, or sandblasting it, I guess. And then they laser etched here. I liked this when I first got it customized, but since then I've kind of I don't know, I don't like it as much, but it's still a great knife itself. The customization is cool initially, but right now I'm kind of not sold on it. But like if you ignore the customization, the texture here is just enough so that you can hold it well. The steel is great. The blade, the MagnaCut is good. I love MagnaCut, and one of the reasons why I got this knife was because of the MagnaCut. When I first got this might have, it was like my second automatic, side opening automatic, and it was illegal here in the state of Pennsylvania. They just made them legal, so I can finally carry this. They made it legal in January, so that is very cool. It has this lock right here as well. It's not necessary, as far as I can tell. The push button here, you can see, is inset here. And so it doesn't, it won't go, it's never gone off in my pocket accidentally. And I very rarely use this little safety lock. And you'll notice that the other automatics that I have on the table don't even have that feature. I think this is more for the safety conscious people who are really worried about that might be happening. The thickness and the ergonomics on this are good. It has this jimping right here, which is great, but you can't necessarily, you can't necessarily choke up on this. It's probably my least favorite ProTech knife that I have, but having said that, I still really like this knife. Next, I got the Malibu, and I was, when I first got into this game of collecting knives, the Malibu was a very rare bird indeed to get. And I ended up being able to get this. I was actually in Europe, and I got like a text alert, and this had just come up, this blacked out, murdered out version of it, and I jumped on it. And I really like it. This has an amazing action. It drops shut. The texture on it is great. The DLC is great. It's a little dirty, but that's because I use it. It has this landing pad. The clip comes down here, and it has this landing pad right underneath, so it doesn't, it's easy to put on your jeans or whatever. I should say all ProTechs, as far as I know, have this look at the back that almost makes it look like an integral, which is really cool. The Malibu has this lanyard hole, which is very non-intrusive, and you don't even notice it, and you're still looking for it. I've never seen anyone use a lanyard on a Malibu, but there it is for those people who really want it. The ergos are amazing. The action is great. And this reverse Tonto shape is really cool. They make this with a lot of different versions of the blade. They make it with a lot of different kinds of blade shapes, but I really like the reverse Tonto. Really cool. So, when I got this, I liked ProTech even more. This is one of their flipper knives rather than their automatic knives, and it's really, really cool. Nick Shabazz has a really great review of this knife, which you should check out if you haven't seen it before. Next, I got the SBR with the Ultim. So I kind of really like the look of Ultim, and then I saw SBR. Then that's short for short bladed rock eye, and it's designed by Les George. This does not have any texturing on the scale, but it has this really cool show side scale of Ultim. And Ultim is an aircraft plastic, which is highly strong but very lightweight, and is become popular in the knife world recently, and it's pretty cool. And again, the action on this automatic is great. It has that classic Les George shape to it. It has this classic jimping at the top, tells you it's Les George. It has a recessed button. Again, it looks like almost like an integral the way that it's put together. It only has screws on one side because you have the screws on the show side, and they screw into the back side, which is aluminum. And I should say that this is aluminum and this is aluminum too. They use aluminum in a lot of their handle material. So if you don't like that, you're not going to like this. And this is S35VN. And I should have said, by the way, that this is 20 CV. This is Magna Cut. This is 35VN. So they use a lot of different kinds of materials. And again, there's a ton of versions of the SBR. And this is a very, very popular model. Sometimes very hard to find the version that you want, or to find one at all. But it's a very cool knife, and I really like this version. I believe it was a Blade HQ exclusive. And then next I got the full-sized SBR. So this is the short-bladed rock eye, and this is the full one, and this is from Way of Knife. It's got that midnight blue and the I can't remember what it's called, but it's not pearl, but it's I can't remember what it's called, but it has this inlay, which is very, very cool. I like it a lot. And again, this thing is a beast, and it's the biggest one. It's the biggest, longest blade here. And this is CPM D2, and a lot of people complain about CPM D2, but I think on a knife like this, it's absolutely fine. The powder metallurgy version of D2 is fine. D2 is a good metal. I know a lot of people think that there's just, every metal, it has its own drawbacks and pluses and minuses, and I have to say that I personally find D2 easy to sharpen. I think it's tough enough, especially for a folding pocket knife or for an automatic. The only thing that really does everything is better than this in all areas, I would say, is like Magna Cut. Like, I mean, yes, S35VN is good, but this has its own value too, I think. That's just my opinion. Again, it has that integral type back here. And again, it's a very, very strong spring. It's got that classic shape here. You can see the SBR, the two of them compared to each other, the size and shape of them. But this is a big boy, and it fits in the hand, and there's a lot of room on here. If you have a big hand, this is the knife for you. There are lots of versions of this knife. I happen to snag one of these. I do happen to like black or coated blades, although I have plenty of blades that aren't, but I really think that looks nice. And then finally, the last one that I got recently was the PT Strider Plus. So this was designed by Strider, and it has that classic Strider shape to the handle, textured aluminum, kind of like what they had for the Malibu, recessed button, integral back, nice clip here. It is a bent clip, but honestly, I like this bent clip more than others. I mean, if you look like at a cheap one, like this is the Echo, and this bent clip here, I just don't like the way that this one's done. I don't know what it's about. I guess it's just the lines of it aren't as sexy, and it feels a little cheaper. This is a little bit more sexy. The lines are great. It's got a great landing pad. It's got this wide open part right here. It's just really cool. I would prefer a titanium milled clip, but I didn't get that. This is Magna Cut as well, and Magna Cut is probably my favorite steel. So overall, this is a beautiful knife, and you can choke up on this. It's got a shorter length of sharpened blade area, and as you can tell, it's more like the SBRs, but the blade itself is long because it has this sharpening choil, and then it has this choke up point. So again, I really like this shape. I like that you can choke up on it and really get, you can put your finger on top there and do some good cutting chores there. Cutting straps is fine. The reverse grip is a little uncomfortable with this part right here, getting in here, but it's fine. Yeah, and again, extraordinarily snappy. I will say that when you get a ProTech knife, usually they're a little bit too tight and you need to loosen them up just a little bit, because when you first open up a new ProTech, chances are if you push the button and you do this, it won't be as snappy as you want. But it's going to be really Loctite here, so if you just loosen it a little bit, it'll be fine. Also, they have a tendency to over oil the pivot in shipping, so sometimes you'll even see a little bit of oil residue on that. Just wipe it off, it'll be fine. Taking these apart is a pain, and you have to be careful and you have to know what you're doing, but it is doable. In general, I try not to open them up, and I try to just sharpen them and maintain them rather than totally taking them apart like I do some of my other knives that I like to take apart. Overall, I think the brand is great. It's American made. Everything is pretty much in-house. I'm sure that they have some of the parts that they get, like the screw. I don't know this for sure, but I wouldn't be surprised if like their washers or their screws weren't necessarily American made. Then again, I wouldn't be surprised if everything that they did was in-house and American made. Great company. They go to all the shows. They're really friendly. They're responsive. I can't say enough about them. I think that they're a knife company you should support and you should get into, and they have a lot of really cool knives. And now I am looking for a Mordix, I think is the next thing I'm looking forward to get. So let me know what you thought about this video. If you liked what you saw, please like and subscribe. And I also have an Instagram page. You can follow me there at Sharp Ends. I really appreciate that as well. And I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one. Bye-bye.